Hi, I'm Aimee.
And I'm Craig, and we are currently in Australia.
Yes, but 2 years ago, we travelled around Southeast Asia.
It was a hot and sweaty time, but we kept a podcast journal of our thoughts and feelings, the run up to it, during, and the eventual finale of our trip there.
Yes.
And we thought it was lost to time, but we have found it, and we thought it would be a good time capsule to put up on our YouTube channel. So here it is, the latest of our old podcast.
Enjoy. Hello again.
Hello everybody and welcome to Sunsoaked Couple podcast, Philippines edition part 2. That's like a mixture of two and deux. We're wearing the same clothes because we've done this.
Yeah, the first episode about Philippines, which we hope that you've watched and listened to, was getting a bit long for us to continue, so we've turned it into 2 parts. This episode we will talk to you about our time in Cebu and in Lapu-Lapu City, which is where we are as we record.
What I want to know, right? I'm okay with people joining the podcast whenever they want, because it's a podcast, you know, loads of episodes. Why would you join on Philippines part 2? That just doesn't make any sense.
But
if you're doing that, you're a wrong one.
If you're doing that, thank you so
Go
much.
away, we don't want you.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. If you are joining us for the first time on this episode, make sure you go back and listen to the others, especially Philippines part 1, because that will kind of, you know, put these two together.
I don't want you to.
However, before we get started on our Cebu and Lapu-Lapu City journey, please find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Sunsoaked Couple. You can email us at sunsoakedcouple@gmail.com if you have any questions or queries. And you can read our articles and other bits and pieces at sunsoakedcouple.com. So, Craig.
You're not going to keep up that energy.
Cebu City. Well, it wasn't really Cebu. Cebu is the city. We flew to Cebu. We drove from Cebu for 3 hours to Mobile.
Yes, we did. Yeah, and that's where we stayed, isn't it?
We stayed in Mobile.
Yes. So.
And in the car, the taxi to Mobile.
Yep. Pitch black dark.
We realised that we actually didn't have anywhere booked for that night because I'd accidentally booked it for the night after.
So what happened? What has happened is that you set your calendar to match local time, whilst I did not. So this is what you think happened, right? So when I put it in my calendar, it said, oh, this is when we go from here to here.
And mine is like 7 hours ahead of his calendar. So he had put it for like 7 o'clock or something.
Whatever it said the next day for you.
Yeah, it was like 7 hours ahead, so it was the next day. So I just booked the trip from the Saturday
as we drive
to the Monday rather than the Friday.
As we drive towards it, we're just like, oh,
let's get the address.
And
I saw that it said check-in tomorrow from 2 p.m.
So you message the guy and you're just like, hey.
Yeah, do you have a room tonight? And he didn't.
No.
Then I booked another Airbnb at last minute. I mean, bearing in mind this was 10 p.m. at night that I was trying to book this room. The owner wasn't in the country. Was in Sweden. But was trying to find the manager to, you know, be there for us. Couldn't get hold of her. So then she was trying to contact hotels. No hotels were available. But whilst she was doing that, you were on booking.com. And luckily we found a place just for the night.
But my first annoyance is that an Airbnb, like, you should, as an Airbnb person providing a room, you should only accept it if you're available to do that. They just accepted it and then, oh, actually we can't do that. And then she was like, just cancel it. But if you cancelled it, then you would have got no money back.
Yeah.
And that was just a terrible way to do business.
But
I found a random booking.com just down the road from us, the next place we were going to be staying.
Let's not go into details on the going to the wrong place.
No, I don't care. Well, we're not there anymore, so.
No, we drove. We got the taxi to go to where the hotel was supposed to be. And
oh, you don't want to talk about those details.
Yeah.
Well, the address on the booking.com website was incorrect, and they gave you the right address, but we just still went to the wrong place. It's funny stuff. Reflection. So then we get to the right place, and
it's
we're
party
just
central.
It's just and then we just here with these backpacks and just like, what's going on? I'm so tired. I just want to go to bed. It's like 11:30, midnight.
Yeah.
We meet this random woman outside a bar. It's like, you Craig? Yeah, come with me. She's like, okay, I'll go down this random alley with you.
Yeah, but I mean, the place was very, very basic, but we literally just needed to sleep in it for the night. So, you know, I'm not.
We spent probably less than 12 hours there.
Yeah, we literally got up the next day, walked like the 5 to 10 minutes to our actual Airbnb, which was, I think, in a nice location. It was quite quiet. And our host was great, organised a tour for us.
Yeah, good tour, which we'll talk
Couple
about.
Couple of tours, yeah. And
aircon. How was aircon with that so far? So we had a double bed for us two and a single for our pal Rachel. The aircon was just above us, and it was like a jet engine.
Yeah.
It was so loud, it was vibrating both the beds. It was hilarious.
Yeah. And then because it was right above our bed, where the head should go, like where the pillows are, it was just like, it was, you'd lay there and you could hear not just the aircon but the vibrations of everything else louder. So then we had to swap and put our heads at the other end, and luckily it was a smidge quieter because you couldn't feel these vibrations, but it was still quite loud. And like Rachel was struggling because she was like, although we were all hot, Rachel couldn't sleep because of this noise, whereas I couldn't sleep. Pardon me. I couldn't sleep because of the heat, and they wanted to turn the aircon off. It was all just, yeah. But we managed.
As far as rooms go, it was nice.
It was a nice room, yeah. It was small, but we were out a lot, so you know.
The fastest internet in the Philippines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were out a lot because where we had stayed the first night, we walked to our proper Airbnb we had booked, so we were able to see some of the things that were on offer there, and it was like there was karaoke bars, there was different restaurants, a few other bars where you could dance and nightclubs and stuff like that. So we knew that we were around quite a lively place. Yeah. So we could just walk up the road and there would be stuff there to help us out. Yeah. Apart from if you needed sun cream. No shops had that for whatever reason. Because the rest of the Philippines is like, you want sun cream? Well, it's £14 a bottle. This is just like, nah, just burn, you stupid tourist. Why did you not bring it with you?
And so on the day we got to our Airbnb...
Yep, we let us check in early. That was nice.
Yeah. And we went... Did we do anything?
We went to the restaurant, the first restaurant there.
The Smooth Cafe.
Smooth Cafe.
And we had food.
We did have...
I can't remember what food we had.
And as we sat there, it just started to downpour with rain. Like, literal just... So we sat there.
Oh, you had a burger.
I had a burger, yeah, which had a hair in it and they replaced. That was nice.
I did not get a photo of mine, so I have no idea what I got. But
good place. Smooth
yeah.
Cafe.
So we had a bit of a chill day that day, and then
when it was raining, there's nothing you can do. Rachel went scuba diving.
Yes. So something that I probably haven't mentioned in the previous episode or this episode is that when we hit the Philippines, I literally came down with a cold, and like my sinuses were blocked. My nose was blocked. I was coughing.
Today is like the only day you're starting to sound yourself again. But even yesterday you were still coughing quite
badly.
badly.
I'm like still a little bit stuffy, but and I had never scuba dived before, and I so wanted to. I wanted to go and do a try dive, and Rachel was going to do it with us, and you were going to do it as well. But I just thought, like, the last thing I want to do is trying to have the regulator and like needing to cough underwater or sneeze or whatever. So I said no, and you were quite tired, and we both just said, Rachel's up for it, she go do it, and we just kind of chilled at the room and rested and chatted and made plans.
We also didn't mention that when Rachel came, she basically, it's her holiday, and she made an itinerary of what she would be.
It was her holiday, and we basically just said, what you want to do, we want to do. And so we booked our trip around her suggestions, so that, even though it's our trip, it's, we
want to have fun.
She's taken, 10, 11 days out of her work for her annual leave and stuff. So we wanted to make sure that she, did what she wanted to do.
And for us, it was different because, like you said last episode, the underground river, you just went in blind. You just heard the name, you didn't know what else it was, and it ended up being really good because you were surprised. So when, there was lots of stuff, we didn't plan on, getting sunburned and being absolutely knackered and ill.
Yeah.
You were run down. Sometimes it's just we just need to take a moment to recuperate. It even happened to her with the sunburn anyway, didn't it? So she went and did the scuba diving because she was like, well, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that Craig and I wanted to do whilst we were in the Philippines was canyoneering. And the day after, so Rachel did the scuba diving, and then the next day we went canyoneering, and it was just...
That day of rest really helped.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Now, I know what canyoneering is, and you go to Kawazan Falls, which is about an hour and a half from where we stayed. But I did not do any research into, what it looked like, what it involved, any of this stuff. Again, I just really enjoyed going in blind. And so this guy, our tour guide, comes and picks us up in his tricycle.
That's something we didn't talk about. I was not ready for tricycles. What? So, in Thailand, you see the motorbikes or the scooters, and they've got
and the tuk-tuks.
Yeah, and every now and again you see a motorbike with a trailer on the side, not like a seat, but just like a trailer where they carry stuff. You land in Philippines, and then they don't have taxis; they have tricycles, which is a bike with 2 or 3 seats. And it's so weird. It was such a big cultural difference that I knew nothing about. And it's just us 3 and all of our stuff on the back of this tricycle, and it is hilarious to watch. Yeah. Because it's just the most efficient way to get around.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So our guide picks us up on his tricycle, takes us to go and get our life vests and our helmets and our swim shoes.
Some random hut in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and Rachel at this point is like, this doesn't seem legit to me. Where is he taking us? And then we ask him about the heights of the jumps and stuff. And this guy has a sick sense of humour. His sarcasm is hard to know. It's hard to know whether he's joking or not. And he told us that the highest jump was 30 metres. And Rachel was like, that's 100 foot. That's the size of a building. There's just no way I'm jumping off that. And I was just like, yeah,
I've never experienced this. I'm not good with sizes.
And then, later on in the conversation, we find out that he's joking and that the highest one is 15 metres.
I can't recall. And then Rachel was like, oh, okay, we're good.
Yeah. And then he drives us basically to this car park in a church, and then we have to get a bike. So there's me and Craig on the back of some guy's bike.
I've never done a 3-person bike before.
And then there's Rachel and our tour guide on the back of another bike, and they take us up to this point because the tricycle wouldn't make it. And I'm just my hand is around this guy's waist, and he's stiff, and when he brakes and stuff, he leans back to stop you from pushing him. So I've got Craig pushing into me, and I've got him leaning back into me, and I'm just squished between 2 men.
And then I during that moment, I'm thinking of Rachel, who was just she was already feeling a bit
she'd
cautious.
never been on a motorbike before.
And then she's like, I don't want to, like, if this is too high, I don't want to do it. And then she's just sandwiched between two men, like, just going through these random hills. Hilarious.
Yeah, she had so much fun on the back of that bike.
In the middle.
In the middle of the bike. And then, so they take you up, you, like, just check in, we got some water, we had a briefing.
And I felt like at that point, Rachel's like, okay, I had to sign something.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like, it all seems a bit more legit now. And then they say you can walk about 40 minutes to the starting point, or if you want to shave off about 30 minutes, no, it's pretty much shaving off the whole 40 minutes, you can get the zip line. So we were like, it's hot, we're tired already, and we haven't even started yet, let's get the zip line. So back on the bike we go, because you have to get the bike up to the zip line, and at one point it gets like really narrow, and they're like driving on this like really thin, narrow like pathway,
just ducking and weaving through
and
all these
dips
slopes.
and
you were just like,
and it's that very last bit as you go down to the zip line. That was
thrilling in itself.
Yeah, but yeah, good fun. And so we get the zip line across, doing the Superman, and
well, you get seated or Superman. When I did Superman, just my shoulder still hurts. Superman is just you laying down as you zip line.
Kind of digs in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun.
It was good.
And then we started. It took from us getting there to getting back to the tricycle, I think it was about 4 to 5 hours. So it is a really, really long day.
And if you're a vegetarian, so they have random stalls and shops in the middle of just this natural valley. And if you're a vegetarian, once again, it's like, well, ain't got anything for you.
But
various meat on sticks.
Yeah, the tour that we did included lunch, which was after. So we will come on to that. So don't feel like you have to get the food that's in there. You can get food after. In fact, we weren't really hungry. I think we got a bottle of Coke each at the like halfway stop, just to like give us a bit of caffeine and a bit of sugar.
But let's talk about the experience itself.
Yeah.
You start off after the zip line. You have to walk probably like 5 minutes downhill.
Well, he said 6 minutes. It felt more like 10 to 12.
Then you get in this water and it is just so refreshing.
Oh,
cold,
so nice.
It's not salty.
And a very, very picturesque.
Yeah, already at this point, before you're even in the water, you can just look around and you are just in like a mountain backdrop.
Yeah.
And it seems so nice and clear. It's very nice to see. So first thing first is like you just jump in and then you just walk in the water to your first jump.
Yeah. And the first jump, like, I don't know why I do this to myself, because I have so much fun and it's not even that bad, but like in my head I'm just like, I am jumping to my death. Like, that is what it feels like when you're there. And this was the smallest jump.
It's funny as well because they're just like 3, 2, 1, and you being a strong, independent woman, you're just like, no one's going to tell me when to count down. So they do 3, 2, 1, and you're like, and then you like multiple times you did your own countdown, and then you still didn't jump. And then you just go,
and then in the end, I literally just went 3, 2, 1, go, and then I just jumped off. It is so much fun. It is so much fun.
It's your brain telling you shouldn't do this. This is not what you should do.
Yeah.
And it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you see so many people do it.
Yeah. But like all the different jumps like varied in height. But I think he said the tallest one was 15 meters, which was the one at the very, very end. And yeah, it's just so picturesque. At one point, he gave us the option of climbing over or going under. And we were like, nah, let's go under. So, like, literally you have to hold your breath for, like, 3 seconds whilst he, like, pulls you from one side to the other. But you can't just walk through. Like, you can see the other side, but to get it, you have to go underneath. So he goes round, and then you get up there, and he's like, right, I'm going to grab hold of your life vest. You're going to hold your breath, 3, 2, 1, and then he just pulls you under and out the other side.
When we were in there as well, there's other parties still doing their stuff too. And the river is still flowing. Yeah. So I just had some random woman just bash into me. She's like, I'm very sorry, I can't stop. And I'm like, yeah, but we're in this random cave together. What else can I, it's fine, love, don't worry about it. Yeah. That sort of thing. The jumps themselves, you said they varied in height, but they also varied in how you approach them. So like there was definitely. Like a slide sort of one where you just go backwards. And you can do it alone or together. And we decided...
That was the second one. So the first slide was like... Just small, and you just go back on your own. Yeah. And then the second one we did, you can go together. So we did that, and our timing was not right, and Craig ended up dragging me down this slide. Which you should see the video.
It worked out worse for me because I did like a nice little kiss and then went backwards, and you weren't ready. So what ended up happening is you just landed straight on top of me as soon as I hit the water. Yeah. And you like, that's all right. And I'm like, yeah, it's good. And then there are also like waterfalls that you can go under, and like rope swing ones.
There was a rope swing. It was so picturesque, like the clear blue water. It was just...
You didn't know how deep it was because it was so clear.
Like, it was probably, like, from this whole experience, from day one of travelling to today, probably in my top 5 favourite things we've done.
It was very different and just nice overall. It didn't seem it did seem a bit too long near the end. But you can't balance out nature to be thrilling all the time, can you?
So it's roughly 3 kilometres long.
It feels longer.
But it feels a lot longer. I mean, we were out 4 to 5 hours. But it also depends on how long it takes you to do the jumps, like me. Photo stops. We had a couple of pauses because, like, it just gets so hot. So we just, like, sat in the water for a little bit. And then... by the end of it, we were all chafing. We were all
on fire. Oh, and there was like a dam as well, a photogenic dam for you to take photos by.
Yeah, that was cool.
Just the highest one was just. So you did a high one. Early on, there's a high one where you got to enter the water straight.
Basically, you have to jump. There are some where you can just step out and just go directly down, and that's how they recommend you do it. There's others that have rocks kind of...
So you've got to leap over them.
So you have to, like, leap over, and...
As I entered the water, I was straight, but then I must have just tucked my legs in at the wrong moment, so I ended up landing on my bum, my butt, and I was stinging for a good 5 minutes afterwards. And then you went and did it, and you were just like, oh my God, like, it was so good. My favourite jump from you, though, was there was a shallow one, and the tour guides like to do Spartan kicks or just stupid stuff, and our tour guide goes, look over there, and you go, what? And then it just pushes you, oh my God, and then you just like turn and splash into the water. Me and Rachel landed, they recommend doing back first. As soon as I hit that, I just got a headache and my shoulders ached. Yeah. And you were like, well, I think I did it.
I think because I had like twisted in the air, like it wasn't like neck on, it was more like back. Mm-hmm. So it didn't have the same effect on me. Mm-hmm. But that was funny.
It was.
And then our mate Rach, she slipped at one point, not on a jump or anything, but she like landed on her bum on like a rock. And, like, she proper bruised. It was, like, bright purple.
Good old China.
Yeah. So...
You have to be careful still.
Somebody's drilling something outside, so I do apologise if you can hear that.
I think it can, but... Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do about it.
No.
So let's just continue.
And, we all got bumps and scrapes and stuff, so, like...
And aches,
but like just bear in mind there was some people there, you don't wear wetsuits or anything, you just wear your clothes, so we had like swimming costume on.
Some people were just wearing
shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah,
some people just wearing bikinis.
And like not even covering bikinis,
no,
like just like
full on wedgie bikinis. So just bear that in mind. You can choose to wear longer clothing if you want, which will help protect your skin a bit on the scrapes.
It is quite physical, so if you're a bit more of a bigger person or it's a bit harder for you to do stuff, probably wouldn't recommend doing that. No. It takes some energy. It takes a lot of energy out of you, actually. So, yeah.
And you need to be able to pull your own weight at parts as well, because you have to like pull yourself up.
And you struggled.
I did. To be fair, I have no upper body strength, so at times it was really difficult.
The video, if we're going to show it, is you on the rope swing, and you just hold it, and then you just slip off straight away as soon as it swings. So good.
And like Craig's is like the most like what was the word I said?
Did you say picturesque?
No, it was what was the word?
I can't remember. But just describe what it was like seeing it, I suppose.
It was just so smooth and like you just like graceful. It was the most graceful thing I've ever seen him do. He just like holds onto it, swings, and then he just like plops.
Yeah,
almost hits into a guy.
I let go probably at the best time, and then I just I plopped straight into the water. I could touch the bottom because I was so just like got it straight on. Didn't realise until like 5 minutes later I had lost my helmet.
Yeah.
And then looking
I
back
just
at the
swim
footage,
back to try and like find it.
On the footage, you just see it go plop out of the water. It's so funny, so funny. The highest jump was just because the highest jump is you have to run and jump off. You don't really, you don't have time to look at it and like talk yourself out of it. So your time comes and they go, "Are you ready?" And I go, "No." And then one of the other guys goes, "What?" And I say, "That's fine." And then I just run and I was like, just swearing my ass off. Like it was
really, really high.
You look at the footage, I land at an angle, and what happened was I could just feel like I landed on my leg and my face, so like part of my lip and my eye and my leg took the brunt of it. So funny, so funny. But if you're gonna be in that area, definitely something to try, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the day, we pretty much chilled out. We were gonna go snorkeling, but we were so knackered after that.
Yeah.
So we just rested, got some food, and then the next day we dropped Rachel off at the airport.
Yeah.
She was heading home from her hollybobs, and we drove through to Lapu City, which is where we are now.
It's very strange here.
Yeah.
Not because it's different. More of a like we've seen different places in the Philippines, and each place has had their own feel, and this place is like just apartment buildings just being thrown up, and they're still in development as well. And if you look out the window, you can see more of a rural feel from people living in their huts and the traditional sort of style. And just right here, plopped apartment blocks, restaurants, Starbucks, McDonald's, you know.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. But we chose this because we were 3 hours away from the airport in Malbo. And here we're only 20 minutes, so we thought we would come back with Rachel, drop her off at the airport, stay somewhere for a few days just to rest and recuperate before we then catch our next flight.
Be lazy.
Yeah, so yesterday we had a bit of a lay-in, we rested, we sorted out our bags, we did some washing, we took a stroll to the beach, and then today we're going to go in the pool in a bit, then we've got to head to Starbucks to sort out these podcasts. And get some food and stuff. So it's just a really nice
full stop.
Yeah.
Relaxing full stop.
Yeah, and then the next podcast episode we'll talk to you about what we're doing and where we're going next and how we've come around to doing that. And we're very, very excited to share the news with you. But I think for part two, that is it for us, unless you have anything else you want to add.
What I would add is that if you're going to the Philippines, when I initially, because I was just like, Rachel, you do whatever, and I'll just come on board. And then when you was like, you should probably take a look at the document, and I was like, there is a lot for some, because she had 10 days. 11, 12?
It was slightly less because of the travel time.
Yeah.
But she was here for at least 7 or 8 days.
Yeah, and I was like, for someone who is here for a smaller amount of days than we are, there was a lot of days travelling, and I was like, just in my mind, that didn't make any sense. But after being there and seeing all these different little islands in the Philippines, I understand now that each different island in the Philippines has its own feel and has its own positives and negatives. And if you're going to go to the Philippines, if you just go to one place, you're going to have a different experience.
Yeah, you're not going to see. I think El Nido was probably our favourite part, as in place to stay with like things to do and things. But canyoneering was great fun. The underground river, brilliant. There's so much, and
so like just from a overall country feel, the Philippines is different wherever you go.
Yeah. And we've only just scratched the surface. We've only been to a few places.
And there's still stuff you want to do in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Philippines is definitely somewhere I would come back to. But I guess I just want to say thank you to Rachel for joining us, because she kind of took us out of our comfort zone where we've been doing slow travel for the last 2.5 months. She's come along and was like... Rachel kind of come along and was like, let's do this. We'll travel on this day, we'll travel on that day. And we were a bit like overwhelmed by it, but actually it was so much fun. And we're so grateful that she got to be a part of that experience for us. And we hope that she had a brilliant time too. We know that she's at home now.
Waiting for the gas man.
Trying to sort out all her washing and get her home. Back on track for going back to work tomorrow. So, thank you. And thank you guys for listening. Hopefully, when you're planning your trip to the Philippines, you can take some of the stuff that we've done and put it onto your list. And also apologies for the sound of the drilling in the background at parts of this. But, that's what happens when you live in a shared apartment block. But for now... I've been Amy.
I'm still Craig.
And you can find us at Sunsoaked Couple at Sunsoaked Couple on all the platforms and sunsoakedcouple.com. Woo, jinx! But take care, and we look forward to sharing our exciting news with you next time.
Bye.